It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and where else would I be but here with DJ Stutz, Little Hearts Academy USA, and Imperfect Heroes podcast. And I am now coming to you from the new headquarters of Little Hearts Academy and the podcast. This is now my office. We have moved into our new home in Little Chester, Idaho. I don't think there's 1,000 residents, maybe 1,000. Anyway, nothing on the walls yet, but we'll get there. And we're so excited to be home. Today, I would want to talk to you about just such an important episode. And I hope if you don't listen to any other episodes that we've done, of course, I hope you listen to all of them. But if you only had to choose one, I hope and pray it will be this one. So, this episode 92 of Imperfect Heroes podcast, you can just find it easily at imperfectheroespodcast.com. My guest is Tyson Wright, and Tyson is the manager of education with Operation Underground Railroad. And we had an amazing conversation. We had a conversation about our kids, how to keep them safe, um, and the things to look for, to fight against, and how predators will target our children, how they reach our children, sometimes while they're sitting right next to us on the couch. They are conversing with a predator. We talked about the new program that they have that's free. If you go to O.U.R Rescue, I think it's a .com, but I think if you just hit O.U.R Rescue, Google will find it for you. And um, it's a great free workshop about how predators use the internet, how you can be aware, what are the things that you need to watch for, what are the things that you need to set up, what are the things that you need to teach your children to give them the wherewithal to recognize the signals. But you know, sometimes these guys, well, and gals, but mostly guys, are very good at pretending they're someone they're not, at leading our kids into pulling away from parents, telling them that they can't trust their parents, all these kinds of things that are going on. And sometimes what is happening in our schools only further exacerbates the problem. So when they are being told that, you know, you can come talk to me, your teacher, your counselor, whomever it is, um, when you can't talk to your parents, instead of helping them find a way to talk to their parents about some difficult subjects, um, they're like, yeah, they won't understand. You count on me. Instead of helping them reach out to parents. This will make that divide even greater when a predator tries to use them. Here's another thing that we talked about, though, is that, you know, a little over half the time, it's not a stranger. Who is it then? Well, we talk about all of that in the podcast and what's going on. We talked about the human trafficking and the sex trafficking situation worldwide, and it broke my heart to hear that the United States, this blessed land, this amazing country, is the greatest consumer of sex trafficking trade, and that there are people who will travel to all different countries not to see the beauty, not to see the culture, but to use um, people, children, young women who are subject to trafficking. Gotta put my glasses on. Nephi, it's so good to see you. So I really do believe that in order for us to keep our status in our country, to keep the protections of God in not just our lives, but in our neighborhoods, our communities, our states, and our nation, we have to stand up to this. We have to say, no more, not here. And the reality is, I don't care where you live, it's happening in your neighborhood, in your community, people from your church, people from your Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, teachers may be involved in this. There are so many people that are involved in this that it's just, kind of scary to think that how are we going to remain um, loving and kind and valued from on high when we are not valuing life, human life here. We subjugate it. We think, oh, you disagree with me on politics? You are less than human. And I have absolutely heard those words word for word. And I've heard a million variations of them, right? Um, I have had times, and I think you have too. Let me know if maybe this has happened to you with a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, that it's beyond politics even. It can be faith. It can be where you live, what you look like. And we will dehumanize people. We have dehumanized children and accepted that. And I don't know where you are politically, but here's where I am. I will always come down on the side of the child. And so when we look at the human trafficking that just is coming from our southern border alone, right? And the children that are being abused and used from that border, I think that there are things that we need to do as a nation to make sure that we know who these kids are, where they are going, and be protectors of these little ones. Don't even get me started on abortion. That's not a good place for me. But it's that value of human life. I am hoping with all my heart that you will go and listen to this podcast episode. It is episode 92. His name is Tyson Wright, and he is from Operation Underground Railroad. Now, we did talk more about towards the end of the podcast about what O.U.R is doing. We talked about how to even donate because there's three places that I send my money when I am donating. And I donated about 15% of my income. So I give to my church, I give to Operation Underground Railroad, and I give to an organization called Mercury One. Feel free to look into any of those, but it's really important for you to find the cause that is has your heart, and then find a way that you're looking at where do your donations go, how much of it is going to administration, and how much of it is actually getting to the cause that you are concerned about and want to make a difference. that's something that I have done, and those are the three that I do. But you can be different, you can do something, whatever, but I think that it's really important for us as human beings, as beneficiaries of living in the United States of America, if that's where we are. I know I have some that live elsewhere, but wherever you live, to have that benefit of living there, you need to make sure that you are contributing to making that a better place for families, for children, for our vets, for, there are so many causes that are out there. But for me, me, kids have my heart. They always have. And they will always be my first go-to. So there's that. Now, before I go, I want to remind you that of two things. Two things. Well, and an announcement, I guess, too. We have a brand new website for Little Hearts Academy. And so now, if you go to littleheartsacademyusa.com, it's going to take you straight to the new website. So we're still getting some things that you are able to um, see what we have available, and we're going to be adding in a resources section where there's a link directly to the podcast. There's the things that we have to offer, and one of the things that's on there, it's only going to be available for the month of March. So on March 31st, it'll go away, but it's called Parent Teacher Conferences, how to get the most. And that's free just this month, because we know parent-teacher conferences are coming up, or maybe you're right in the middle of them. A lot of schools do them during March. And this is just a downloadable. You can watch it at your convenience. There's not a set time. It's a little under an hour, but it talks about all these different aspects of parent-teacher conferences. What questions do you need to ask? What information do you need to offer? There's the question of, do I bring my kid? What if I don't have a sitter and there are siblings? We talk about all of those kinds of things. There's another option that's going to be available if you want. After you watch the webinar, you can register for a time for me and you to make a plan for your conference, to make sure that you are clear on what you're going to do, what you are going to ask, and then how to have maybe some of those difficult conversations that sometimes, those parent-teacher conferences can be a little hard. So we've got that, and then you can also have a debrief so that afterwards we can share what we're talking about. Are there any things that we are going to change? How to follow up on that, how to schedule that all together and get it going. So there's an option for that. Of course, you don't have to do that, but that workshop for you is free for this month. Another thing is, right now it's open again till the 31st. I only open this 3 times a year. So your time is limited on, how often you can get into this. And I have a reason for that, but it's our CICERONE Masters and CICERONE Society. And so we will be meeting, if you join, we will be meeting every Thursday at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So if you're Pacific, it's 5. If you're Eastern, it is 8. And then we're going to have a time, an hour to talk, to get to know one another. And then we're going to find ways to help you as a group. We're going to work together on parenting styles and different personality traits. Maybe you've got some neurodiversity in your children and you're wondering how to work that out. Maybe you've got kids that are just fighting and you want it to stop. Clue is, it's never going to totally stop, but we can bring it down. We can add the love that they have for one another. And actually, there's a point where some of that arguing is good for them. And we'll talk about why that is and how to manage it, it's a great thing. It's a 3 month, 12 weeks, and we meet every Thursday night. We will record it so that if something happens and you can't come at that time, you can always listen to the recording, and that works well. You'll also have access to the CICERONE Society modules. There's 4 modules that talk about what to expect as your kids are growing. So we talk about social, emotional, and then we talk about preparing them and helping them through their education in school. It's a great opportunity. And so I hope that you will look for that. And again, all you have to do is just go to our website, which is www.littleheartsacademyusa.com, and it's all there. You want to look for that bundle so that, because I don't always have these bundled together, and so you'll see one where it's just the masters separately. You're going to want the society and the masters bundle. I think it's the very first one that you see on the new website. So if you have any questions, if you like what you hear, you can always leave notes or comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say and ask. And I hope that you will use this page in Facebook to share ideas, to share successes and questions that you have, because I'd love to interact with you at any time. And so I'll be back next Tuesday, 6 o'clock, or I'm sorry, it's at 6 o'clock Pacific. It'll be 7 o'clock Mountain Time. And I am so excited to be in our new headquarters, and maybe we'll have some pictures up on the wall and it'll look a little more inviting. So until next week, let's find joy in parenting. Bye. It was good seeing you, Nephi. Bye-bye.